Alright, hello Zachman. How are you?
I'm fine.
That's good. Right, so this is going to be your final speaking test for your IELTS pre-ACTA course. Okay? So do your best to answer the questions in as much detail as possible. So I'm going to start off with dictionaries. So how often do you use a dictionary?
I would say I use a dictionary quite often when reading something in any paragraph or anything in English, because there might be a new word that I don't know, so I need to search it up on the dictionary for a definition.
Okay, very good, thank you. And what kind of dictionaries do you think are most useful?
I think a dictionary by Oxford or like the Britain dictionary online are the best, because I see many teachers use that dictionary for definition, and a lot of people use this, so I think it is very authentic and reliable.
Very good. And do you think dictionaries are useful for learning languages?
I think dictionary are useful for languages, because if you don't know a word, then you can search it up and note the definition down, so you will remember it next time. But I think you shouldn't use it always when you don't know the word, because you should always guess the word first and then use the dictionary.
Okay, thank you. What kind of information can you find in a dictionary?
I think you can find a lot of information in dictionary. For example, which kind of phrase that the word can be in, its definition, and example of the word in the sentence, and other variation of the word.
Okay, very good. I'm going to move on to dreams. So, do you often have dreams when you sleep?
I often have dream in my sleep. I think about maybe 1 or 2 a week, and it's usually very weird, and I forget it about 10 minutes after I wake up, but sometimes I remember it for a whole day, and I just keep thinking about it because it's really unsettling and weird.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a new question. Do you, what kind of dreams, no, I'm going to ask you a different one. Do you ever daydream?
I don't ever daydream, but I think a lot, because there's a lot of question in my mind, so I think about it a lot, and I'm pretty sure that doesn't call it a daydream.
Cool, very good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move to part 2. And for part 2, you're going to have a piece of paper to write on, so you can help organize your ideas. I'm going to quickly grab it for you. Sorry. So, for part 2, you're going to have 1 minute to prepare what you would like to say, and then you'll have 2 to 3 minutes to talk about the topic. Do not worry if I interrupt you, I'm just going to hand to time. So, here you go, here is the pencil and paper. So, for part 2, I want you to describe an experience you had, an experience when you got bored, when you were with others. Just hold on. You should say when it was, who you were with, what they did, and explain why you felt bored. So one more time, I'm going to show you the question. So, describe an experience when you got bored when you were with others. You should say when it was, who you were with, what they did, and explain why you felt bored. Okay? Your minute begins now. Right, stop there. Okay, you may be on.
One time I was really bored. That when I invited my friend going to my house to meet each other because it was summer of this year. And we just finished our class. So they came to my house and we was finding anything to do together because we was watching TV and on our phone, and it's really repetitive and it's kind of boring. So we end up going finding board game or anything that we can use to play, which is other in my house. So we end up finding some board game. So we play board game a lot, and I think it was really fun because we can play with each other and spec. So we can play with each other, and it's really fun and it's really competitive too. I remember we play a Battleship. We play Battleship. It's a board game about two players fighting with each other, and we play the mini football. I think that's what it's called. I suppose it's just football, but in a small boat. So I think it was really fun and a good way to play with each other. We can stay off the TV and phone, and that is good for our health.
All right, thank you. What we're going to do is I'm going to move on to part 3. And for part 3, we're just going to have a discussion that will follow on part 2. Right, why do people get bored?
I think people get bored because they do the same thing too many times. It get repetitive, and it will get boring over time. So that's why people get bored. Or they just have nothing to do.
Yeah. And what do you think are... Some people say that it's good to feel bored sometimes. What do you think are? What do you think?
I think feeling bored sometimes can be good for you because I remember I watched I would say a short documentary about boredom, and they say it can be quite good for your health because it might train you patient, and when you are bored you are doing nothing, so it could be say that you are training to be patient for the other time. So for example, when you go on the trip and you are on a car and you don't have anything to do, you will get bored soon. But with people that are usually bored and don't have anything to do, they are usual with it, so they doesn't feel bored anymore.
Do you think that all boring jobs will be done by robots in the future?
I think boring job might not be done by robot in the future because it could be boring for a huge amount of people, but it could be very joyful or interesting for some or a few groups of people. So I think if we use robot to do all the boring stuff, the people that are interested in it will not like it because that is their job, and they are getting them to take away from it.
Sure. And why is it that some people work in boring jobs?
I think because that is might be their hobby, or they just are interested in it. So, for example, collecting stamps or coins, many people find boring and expensive, but some people find it interesting having a huge collection to show off on other people, or just having it as decoration. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Why do some people get bored faster than others?
I think because they just don't have the patience to do a thing many times, or they just did it too much. They do it too usually. Like, for example, playing games. If you play it like a few times a week, then you will have I would say a motivation to play it more because you don't play it that much. But if you play it every day, it will get repetitive, and you will start to get bored from it.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Khánh. That is the end of your speaking test. Now return to class.
Okay.
Good job.